I welcome everybody. This is our first 15-minute interview. I'm so excited for us to be here today and just trying to serve people in different ways. We'll be laying these out every Wednesday and Friday until we're done, having our volunteers come in and spend time. Our first volunteer today is Connie, and she's going to introduce herself here in a second, but I just want to thank you, Connie, for taking time out of your day to let us know a little bit more about what it is that you do and who you are and how you exist in our world, okay? So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Connie, tell me who you are and where you're at.
Well, you're welcome, Isaac. I'm really excited about this project you're doing and to be a part of it. So I'm Reverend Connie Habash, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, yoga and meditation teacher, and interfaith minister. And I see clients in my office here in Menlo Park, California, which is in the Bay Area, as well as online. And I also recently am taking clients outdoors doing ecotherapy. And my work is mainly focused toward people who are interested in spiritual growth, people who are looking to develop a sense of connection to something greater in their life and a deep sense of connection to their own true self, which I focus a lot in my work on authenticity. And when I'm talking about authenticity, it's not just, oh, well, this is my truth and I'm going to say it, or this is what I feel like doing, so I'm going to do it. But it's deeper than that. It's really accessing what is my deepest inner truth, what is my essence, what is it that really wants to express forth through me, and then allowing that to guide and inform and express through you as your life.
Yeah, so you are you're not too far away from me because I'm in California too. So that's
great.
kind of cool. Yeah. All right. So can you tell me a little bit about how you do that? How it is that you go about your work?
Well, as you can probably tell from my background of yoga, meditation, interfaith ministry, psychotherapy, I weave a lot of pieces together.
Okay.
I do a lot of somatic or body-mind oriented practices, working with the breath, working with body sensation. Sometimes we might do some movement or yoga poses or stances to help awaken a quality perhaps that someone wants to develop or to embody something or to move some energy through or to express something. I work with visualization, guided imagery. Obviously, because I teach meditation, I also work with mindfulness. Right. So a lot of what I do with clients is helping them be more in the present moment, because a lot of times we aren't. We're thinking about the future, or we're on our devices, or we're, posting on social media, which, that's all part of our modern day life, but it takes us out of the present moment of where am I now? What am I experiencing right now? What am I feeling right now? What is my deep longing right now? And it also takes us out of real in-person connection with people. I find that a lot of people here in Silicon Valley, where I live, are feeling a deficit of connection.
Right.
The lack of community, it's hard to get together with people. Everyone's too busy and everyone's on their devices instead of actually having a conversation. And so helping people foster a sense of deep connection with themselves and creating that with each other. And also with the planet, with nature. We've become disconnected from our home. I mean, this is our home. This is where we get our food and our air and our water from, and the land that we live on. And I find that helping people reconnect also to nature really heals that sense of feeling isolated and alone, and depressed and anxious.
Yeah. Okay. So what's a timeline look like for being able to do that? If I walked into your office and kind of wanted to look at timelines, like would it be fair of me to ask for a certain timeline, or would it depend on who I am? Or
well, the honest answer to that, Isaac, is that I can't ever know that with someone. I mean, everyone has their own organic process of growth. Having said that, I work with a range of people. Some people who have a very short-term goal of, I really want to move out of this depression and feel better and then be more inspired in my life, get a sense of connecting to something deeper, more meaning, more purpose. And we can do that in 4 weeks. We can really work on that and help them shift out of their current thinking pattern that's probably keeping them in that, change some things in their day-to-day life that are going to add more meaning, more inspiration, more inner fulfillment, change their relationship with their self-care. So I have people like that, and then I have people who have worked with me long-term, off and on. Sometimes they'll come back for a while. They want to do a little tune-up. Right. They want to deepen what they're experiencing in their life, deepen their spiritual path, whatever that might be for them. And so it's really a whole range, and it depends on your goals. I mean, if someone's just wanting to alleviate depression and get re-energized and re-inspired about their life, it's a more short-term goal. If someone really wants to deeply grow and evolve into more of the human being that they feel they came here to be, that might be something that we journey through for quite some time together, but it's really up to the client. And what are your goals? What do you really want the most? And do you want to, take a longer journey together for that, or do you want to just focus on something short term?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So it's up to the client, really.
Mm-hmm.
What's one of the most impactful points that you think that you make in some of those journeys to help others that kind of just really stand out? Maybe even if it was like a theme that you kind of, it comes up a lot. What's something that...
Well, one of the things that I find very impactful is helping people become aware of energy, which is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and yet we're all aware of energy. For example, if you're around someone who is angry or uptight, you might not even have had a conversation with them. You can kind of feel you can feel standing in line with someone, if they're like uptight or anxious, you're feeling their energy. You're not just picking up on body cues, you're also picking up on I don't know, not safe person or uncomfortable person to be around. And likewise, you can walk into a room at a party and feel kind of drawn to someone and feel like you feel really relaxed and at ease around that person. You don't know why. You're all picking up also on energy. And so it's kind of woo-woo, but it actually is very practical. People are doing this and assessing this all the time, on public transportation, in an office. Like, I know the people, they're in a bad mood. I can feel it. I'm going to stay away from that, right? So a lot of times we're not aware of our own energy either. And there's this book, I was going to recommend a couple books that I recommend to my clients a lot. This one is called The 5 Personality Patterns, by a man named Stephen Kessler. And it's based on a work of knowledge from something called bioenergetics. And what that's about is we all have energetic defensive patterns that we go into when we're not feeling safe. And the problem is that a lot of times in our life and in this modern day world, we're feeling unsafe a lot.
Right.
And so we're walking around kind of this reactive defense pattern all the time. And when you start to learn what these 5 defensive patterns are, and the ones that you tend to employ to try to feel safe in the world, you may have learned them when you were a child, and unconsciously we're still kind of in that mode. We recognize how they affect other people, how they affect our quality of life, and that there are ways out of being in defensive pattern. There's ways where we can come back to our true self, our true essence. There's skills that you can develop and tools you can work with to return to your true self. Your true self is not this defensive pattern.
Right.
And I have found that to be totally transformative in my own life and really powerful with my clients, with my individual clients, with the couples I work with my women's groups that I lead. We explore that in the group, and it's really life-changing that people can start to now change patterns that they've had in their whole life because they've been in this defensive pattern, and then they're creating this reaction from the world. And to unravel that and to have so many more possibilities available to them of how their life can unfold is really exciting, and it's very rewarding.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So you shared a book with us. Did you have any other books or any other knowledge that you have that we can steal from you?
Yes. So another book that I recommend to my clients a lot that I think is really very helpful in overcoming our thought patterns. It's called The Voice of Knowledge
Okay.
by Don Miguel Ruiz. And some of you seeing this might recognize his name. He wrote the book called The Four Agreements, which was a very,
Oh,
well, yeah, you're familiar with that. Great book. And I recommend that one a lot too. But this one focuses particularly on the stories that we tell ourselves.
mhm.
So we're constantly going through life narrating our life and narrating everything else and telling stories about what we think that person thinks about us and what we think we're capable of us and what we think we're capable of, and telling stories about our past, telling stories about our future, and none of it is true.
Mhm.
It's just stories. It's just what we fill our mind with, and the stories that we tell affect the way we perceive the world and the
Right.
way we respond to the world, and affect what we end up creating in our life.
Right.
And when you become aware of the story and recognize, I don't need this story anymore, I can let it go and I can tell new stories. I
Right.
can create new
That's
stories
true.
about
If
my
I
life.
made one, I can make another. Right. Okay.
And very, very powerful book and very helpful for my clients.
Okay. So I have a couple of more things that I'm going to ask of you, but I'm going to do it as a either or for you. Okay. So either I want a story from you. I guess you can give me both if you really want to, but either I want a story from you, or I want you to give our audience either some kind of homework or challenge to do on their own that they can take with them.
Okay, or maybe I'll do both a little
Oh,
bit.
lovely. Okay.
So, a story to share is actually, I was outside today with a client. I was doing an ecotherapy session. And I use a lot of metaphor in my work, and I use a lot of, like I said, body oriented practices. And so we were in this park, and this tree really drew this client in. It was in the leaves had really come out, and it was very verdant and green, very alive looking, and she was very attracted to that aliveness. And this is a client who has felt a lot of anxiety recently, and a lot of depression about not knowing what to do with her life and what's her true self and what path to follow. And so I had her sit next to this tree and become the tree and be rooted and feel her roots going into the earth and feel the embodiment of the strength and the stability of that tree. And she just said she felt very peaceful and very solid. And then I had her feel the expanse of the green leaves going out and receiving the light,
Mhm.
and the receiving through the roots the water from the earth.
Mhm.
And she realized through that process that life is abundant,
Mhm.
and that if I'm willing to open and receive, I can be supported just like that tree. I don't I don't need to worry so much about where things are going to come from, that life can bring it to me if I'm really open and receptive like that. So it was a really powerful moment, I think, for the client. And what I would suggest for all of you watching and listening that you can take home and practice for yourself is an eyes open meditation outdoors that's called Sit Spot. So a lot of people who are interested in spiritual growth, or who want to feel more calm and more peaceful, want to calm their mind, try to do meditation, but they find it's hard. You know, like how many people find it's really hard to do meditation? It's hard to quiet my mind. Like, you know, minds don't like to be quiet, right? This and to sit still, right? It's really hard sometimes. So you can go outside and do this sit spot practice. It's called Sit Spot. And you just sit somewhere in nature. It can be on your balcony. It can be in your garden. It can be at a park, or even on the sidewalk, wherever you're comfortable that you would sit regularly or be willing to sit fairly regularly, and just be present. Notice what you see. In with your senses. What do I hear? What do I smell? Right now, in my garden, the jasmine is blooming that's coming over the fence, so I can smell that wafting through the air. What is it like to be out there and to sit quietly and be present with all this? Am I hearing the birds? Am I feeling the sunshine on me? And if you do 10 to 15 minutes of this, you can do it daily. I do it daily myself in the mornings, but as often as you can, maybe just once a week. It's renewing. It calms and quiets the mind without you trying to so much. It also helps you develop, especially if you do this regularly, a sense of connection with something bigger than you. Start to build a relationship with nature and with the cosmos. Because relationships, like any relationship, it deepens and grows as you spend time and you invest in it, right?
Mhm.
So if we want to feel a connection to something bigger, spending time and investing in something like a sit spot where you're connecting to this world around us will
Yeah.
help foster and grow that in your life.
Okay. Yeah, really good stuff. Okay, so I definitely appreciate that. I know in that little bit of time I learned so much. I would have never known. So we're definitely in the online therapy group together, and I've seen your name before, but I've never known that you know what it's like. So
And
um,
it's exciting because even in online therapy, we can bring in those practices and experience them here. As you and I are talking right on the video, you can probably visualize and feel some of those sensations and then take it out into the world.
right, right, and people who are watching, they're able to go ahead and take home the sit spot, right? The sit
Absolutely.
spot and find a way to implement what's going implement the practice so that they can make their lives better as well. So yeah, good stuff. So thank you so much for meeting with me. I appreciate that. And for everybody watching, thank you for watching. And we'll be back twice a week until we run out of videos, to be honest. We'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Isaac.